Coach Slater here with a technique video for the Sumo deadlift. We've got Phil, Chris, and myself. Gonna break us all down. Got a few things with each guy that we were trying to fix on this particular day. With Phil, the first thing he does, which is excellent, is he braces his abs very well via a hard exhale. That active blowing out sets his abs, pulls the ribs down, and takes a huge inhale then to fill up 360 degrees of pressure so he's ready to lift. Now what we were trying to fix on Phil though was that as he sets and pulls his hips down, he tries too hard to get his hips low and close to the bar and then also lift his chest at the same time. You're going to see what happens. Watch how he's nice and neutral here, and as he begins to set, see that excessive arch he's now created in his back. Look at that arch right there. So that is what we wanted to fix. Now by pulling his hips so low, again, he's not going to get anywhere out of this. That's too low to the sumo. And you'll notice that as he begins to initiate the move, he doesn't begin to break the weight off the floor until his hips rise a good, what is that, 4 inches? Just having his hips start higher will help him. So we talked about it. All right, push your hips closer to the bar, keep the ribs pulled down, lift the chest, but not at the expense of letting go of his abs. So it's still there a little. You can see how it's still a little arched, right? But that is much, much better. Now look, his hips are higher and he's starting now. He's not losing as much momentum now in that first pull. It's a much better drive. Cool, so that was Phil's fix for the day. Let's look now at Chris. What I saw Chris doing, and this is kind of hard to see at this angle, he had a bit of an opposite issue. Whereas Phil was arching too hard, Chris was allowing his lower back to round a little bit. So he was a little forward. In that first lift, he would kind of use too much of his lower back, and you'd see it round just a hair. As he stood up and then got to more neutral position, reps 2 and 3 were better. So you can see there, look how that's a little more neutral as opposed to his first one. There's just a hair. It's a very slight difference. But when you're lifting as much as Chris is doing, you need to consider those small details because those small details matter. All right, so this lift, he worked on pushing his hips closer to the bar. Therefore, the weight is more loaded on his hips and not on his low back. Kept driving the knees out, kept driving the feet out. He's got now, I would say, a neutral arch, and that first pull is a lot better. We already know now his second and third lift are good. It was just improving the first one. I might want to pull his head down. We don't need this weird angle with the neck, so just looking more down towards the floor, but that's not going to kill him. All right, as for me, I was getting a little lazy with my knee position. So you're going to see here how there's a bit of a jankiness to my knee. Look how that is not really a straight angle there. I want to see a straight line, and instead I've got this whole thing going on. So I'm ripping through my shoes as I'm doing this as well. Look down here at those shoes. You can see that my foot is basically tearing out the side of my shoe. And again, if my knee isn't tracking well with that foot position, and this was a good video for me then to be like, all right, you need to get your feet in wider and turn your toes out even more so that your knees can track better. You can get more rotation out of your femurs in your hip. If my knees are in at all, I'm losing power horizontally, whereas I want to be able to press power straight into the ground so all that weight's going straight up, nothing lost horizontally. Now here's a big fix I want to show you too. So I set my feet a little wider, turn my toes out a little more. Before I ascended to the bar, I turned my kneecaps out to get some better rotation into my hips. See that subtle adjustment there to there. Drove my knees out towards my pinky toes, and that's a little better for me. You can see there's still a slight line here, and I'm going to work to improve that, but that was a bit better for my first set. So you can see there, I'm getting a little lazy. I need to get that bar pulled back to me a little better. That'll help keep my knees out a little more. That'll help keep the weight loaded on my hips a little more as well. So that's the area for me to improve on for next time. And that's it. That is your technique video for the week. Thanks.